You can make a video, do an interview with somebody, say it's a World War II veteran or your mother, your father, your grandparents. You can do this without a lot of expense. What you need are three things when you do an interview with somebody. And you want to do a nice video, a nice interview, and you want to preserve it for some reason. You need a really fairly decent quality video camera, but not expensive. One that can shoot a good picture. B, you need light. Here we have a soft light here. You don't need that. Just pull in a lamp from your room and set it close to them, but leave it out of the picture. Have a nice, relatively uncluttered background that doesn't compete with your subject. For audio, you need a microphone. Now for that, we're going to plug in two different microphones to show you a little bit of the difference of how they work. One is called a lavalier mic. Those are those little bitty mics that they have that the newscasters use that you can't see because they're hidden under their collar. Lavalier mic, which you clip on as unobtrusively as possible onto your subject. And let's just say that's unobtrusive. It's really not, is it? But anyway, you can hear the difference in what we opened the video with the audio. That was the microphone from the camera. Always, when at all possible, use a microphone that's external to the camera. A lavalier mic is a good plan. Also, a handheld mic works good. We're going to give you a demonstration of that too. Hang on just a second. What I want to say is if you don't have a microphone and you absolutely are going to have to get this interview and you don't have the microphone, remember that audio is probably more than half of the value of what you're trying to tape, especially with an interview. So get the camera close to the person as you can. You'll have a close-up shot. You're not going to have a lot of background in the picture, but you're at least going to have the camera microphone close to the person so that it works relatively well for that. Now, if you have the camera a little further back, it makes a little better picture, but the audio is not so great. So that's the reason for the lavalier mic or a handheld mic. Next, this is a handheld microphone. Now, another thing you want to have is a set of earphones or have some way to know whether or not you're getting audio into the camera, because sometimes you'll have an external mic or even the camera mic may not be working. And if you go for an hour or two interviewing somebody and you don't have your microphone working, well, you've just blown an hour of their time and yours too, and you'll have to do it all over again. So always have a way to check, if you can, constantly, whether or not your microphone is on there. The camera I'm using right now has an indicator on it that visually shows you that the audio is going into the camera. You can also plug into the earphones and wear a headset so that you can listen to the audio if you're taping the thing. The other thing is you want to not make the person hold the microphone, and you don't want to have to hold the microphone yourself. Now here is what you do if you're cheap, like me. You find yourself something close by that you're going to actually have out of the picture. Could be a chair, could be with a high back to it, like this chair, a nice simple wooden chair, or maybe it's just a lamp. Look for what you got handy. Always helps to have a little bit of tape with you. Don't touch the microphone. Keep the microphone out of the picture that you have with your little camera here that you're shooting this with. And your microphone will pick up really nice audio. Now here's the other thing that you got to remember when you do an interview with somebody. There are several ways to approach it. A, you can have them look at the camera. You can be talking, the person can be talking to the camera. If they're doing that, just be sure that the microphone is placed where it's going to pick up the audio as they talk to the camera. The other option is to have the person talk off camera. And this is the common standard approach. It makes it much more comfortable for the person that you're talking to. It's easier for them to tell the story, and it just looks better. So get eye level with me. So you're going to want to be in a chair. And now I'm going to talk to you off the camera like that. The camera is seeing me from this angle. I'm talking to Jason here. Sometimes if I'm looking at the camera viewfinder, I tell the person to talk to my hand to get a feel for how they're going to look. So I'll hold my hand off to the side and let them talk to my hand for just a second, and let's see how it's going to look in the camera. Adjust the picture, and then get a chair and sit down where you can talk to the person right there. The camera's doing its job, it's turned on. The microphone is doing its job, it's turned on. The light is doing its job, it's turned on. The tripod, a critical piece of this whole thing, is doing its job. It's holding the picture steady. And that's key. So you'll look at some other videos that are interviews on the web, and you'll see how people position their subject so that they look good on camera. Typically, you don't want the person right dead center in the picture. You want them just a little off to the right or to the left and looking towards the more blank side of the picture. Get that external mic and be sure that your camera has a plug for it. If you don't have it, it's better to get the interview period than to not get the interview. So if you have a camera without an external mic, deal with it. Put the camera closer and go with your interview from there. Interview several people at one sitting, and if they're elderly people, you'll want to have a room that's easy for them to get into and that's quiet. It's been my experience that sometimes you get a room with a window unit air conditioner, and that's not a good thing. If you have a window unit air conditioner and you need it to be cool, your air conditioner is going to compete for your audio, and you're going to end up with this whining noise in the back of your video. One thing you can do if you don't have a light handy and you don't have a lamp handy, if you shoot this in the daytime, you probably have a window, then try to position your subject so that they're near a window and the light is coming in on their face from the window. The camera at eye level, the interviewer is sitting here, and he's at eye level, or she, and the person being interviewed is all on the same plane. This makes a pretty nice arrangement for doing the interview. That way, the person is not seen talking down to a person here. They're not seen talking up to the person over here if they're behind the camera. They're not talking directly to the camera, but that, if you have to, that's one way to do it. I'm just telling you that it's not a bad practice to have them talk off camera. A tool that's good to have on your shoot, you may need something like this. Get a few of these clamps from your hardware store. They're handy if you need to clip a backdrop behind the person. It's just a piece of cloth. Clip a nice black background there is good. You can also use white. That's fine. It's not. You want to look at having a fairly thick piece of cloth though, because you don't want the light coming from behind it, and you want it to drape well. But outside of that, you know, just about anything will do. If you have just no way to control the background, then use a piece of cloth. These clamps help with all kind of things. Clipping up a cloth, maybe clipping a microphone onto something. You never know. They come in handy. That and a little bit of duct tape will go a long way.